New videos every day.
There's been a huge fascination with vampires because vampires are sexy and romantic and dark and erotic. But have we ever thought about where the idea of vampires actually came from? The modern day vampire we see today are always really suave and sophisticated. But actually, the traditional folklore middle-aged vampire is actually quite different from today. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Vampires have been around for a very long time. Actually, it's only been in the past 150 years that people have actually doubted their existence. But back in the Middle Ages, people believed that vampires were really very real. Our modern-day concept of the vampire can be traced back to the folklore of the Slavic people. Vampires had everything to do with the spiritual beliefs of the Slavic people. Like many other cultures, such as the Greek and Hindu, the Slavics believed that the spirit and body were two completely different things. The Slavics believed that the body is perishable, but the spirit continues to live on even after you die. They believe the spirit or soul is the source of all life which animates the body. In other words, it's the soul that gives the body life. What death is when the soul separates from the body. Without the soul, the body is just a lifeless piece of mud. Back in the days, another word for vampire was revenant. And revenant means to return, which is a corpse returning from the dead. The traditional vampire would be more like a zombie than the hot chick like Isabella in the movie Twilight. The Slavs believed that once you die, your soul leaves your body and has to hang around for about 30 days before it can enter heaven. Interestingly enough, they used to leave the windows of the house open so that way the souls can leave in and out of the house. Within that initial 30 days, if the soul got pissed off, it would re-enter his body, reanimate it, and then come mess with you. And that's what they thought a vampire was. So essentially, what a vampire is just a dead body. Their soul enters it and reanimates the body. When a spirit enters a decomposed body, it is considered unclean. And there are many ways an unclean spirit can come about. We are talking about how vampires are made, and it has nothing to do with drinking the vampire's blood or being bit by a vampire. Some of the ways a vampire came about is if it didn't have a proper burial ground, and if it died a particularly brutal death, or if the person was just a really bad terrible murderer or a sinner. It was also believed that if the person was not given a proper burial, another soul who was not the original inhabitant of the body would grab the body and become a vampire. The vampire was considered an unclean soul inhabiting a decomposing body, so it would have to drink blood to keep the body going. And because the vampire was considered an unclean soul, it would be afraid of things like the holy ground, churches, and crucifixes. Vampires were considered serious business back then, and they were blamed for things such as crop failure, unexplained deaths, disease, livestock death. So the townspeople would go digging up graves to find bodies that really haven't decomposed as much as they should have. There are several different ways to kill a vampire. In Albania, they would put a stake through its heart. In Bulgaria, you would put coins in their mouth and decapitate their body with an axe. In Bohemia, you would rebury the body in the middle of a crossroad. In Crete, you would boil the corpse's head in vinegar. In Greece, you would decapitate the head, then burn it. In Hungary, you would put a stake through the heart and also put nails through the temples of the head. In Poland, you would rebury the corpse with the head facing downward. In Romania, you would take out the heart, cut it in two, put garlic in the mouth, and put nails through the head. In Serbia, you would cut off the toes and drive nails through the neck. So how did the vampire get from being a walking, decomposing corpse to be a sophisticated, sexy vampire it is today? In 1819, an author named John Polidori wrote a book called Vampire, which was probably the most influential book on vampires in that century. The vampire in this book was a very suave British nobleman, Lord Ruthven. And almost 90 years later, Bram Stoker wrote a book called Dracula that also had a vampire that was a nobleman that was also very suave and sophisticated. So through popular literature and movies, the vampire transformed from becoming this decomposing, dead, walking body into the suave, sophisticated, sexy vampire that it is today. In a future video, we will be discussing the origin of costumes and cosplay. And in another video, we're going to be talking about magic, actual, real magic. So subscribe for that. So please rate my video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
If you liked this video, we have hundreds of more alternative videos ranging from sexual health to psychology to mind control. So if you liked it, go ahead and click on me to enter the Psychetruth channel.